Patriot Guard Riders. Did you hit record, Fish? Okay. And this is done at the airports, and what you're doing is you just create a procession line with flags and you welcome home active duty military veterans from wherever they were back to their home city or wherever. It's a great event. I bring my daughter every year. Just connect with your local VFWs, American Legions, Guard Riders, whoever you can, to figure out when they're going to be there. You have Pearl Harbor Day on December 7th, National Guard birthday, December 13th, Reefs Across America, December 14th, Space Force birthday, December 20th, and then again, Operation Handshake on December 23rd and 24th. So here's an opportunity for you to get out in the community one last time before we close out this year and execute on your plans for 2025. Okay, so roll into 2025 with some great momentum, and you can build it at these events right here. Check, Raj? Roger. All right. Alex, my man.
Yeah.
How's the back feeling, brother?
The back is good. So those of you that don't know, obviously Brad does know, I committed to getting a back piece. And you know what? I'm actually going to share part of this story with what we're going to talk about today because it's relevant, right? And you're going to sit here and you say, well, how is a tattoo relevant to mortgages? So I committed to doing a back piece, and you don't realize how large your back is until you see it printed on a piece of paper. And they say, and by the way, we're going to draw all over your back with 5 to 6 needles all at once, going whatever speed that they go. I don't know how fast it goes. It's not fast enough.
The coloring book, man.
It is. It's a massive coloring book. But I'm going to jump to something. Instead of boring you with this whole story, here's the thing. I committed to do a back piece that represented myself, my fiance, my son, my daughter, and my mom who has passed away. And so I have all these pieces that are encompassed. And if you're just an average individual, you're going to look and say, oh, that's a cool tattoo, but it means something to me. And going through the tattoo process, for those of you that have had a tattoo, it's not very pleasant. And especially, I had a 12-hour day in a tattoo shop yesterday. And the one thing I continue to tell myself is do hard things, right? That's what was running through my brain when my mind was saying, oh my God, that hurts. It's do hard things, do hard things, do hard things. And when I committed to the things, as he's tattooing on this right side, my daughter's name's Rowan, and I have a Rowan tree that runs down the right side of my back onto my ribs. Those of you that have ever had your ribs tickled, imagine having them stabbed. And as he's going there, he's tattooing. I said, I'm doing this for Rowan. This is Rowan's tree. It's a Rowan tree. I'm doing this for Rowan. Do hard things. And I repeated that in my head. And here's why this is relevant to all of us. We often avoid doing the hard things. Kind of like what Brad was talking about with the garage, right? I got to clean the garage. Well, the garage is a hard thing. What else can we do? Let's do something easy. What's that? Well, let's drink a beer or let's hang out, right? But why are we doing this? Well, I'm doing my garage so I don't have to park outside. So when the kids get out of the car, they're in a nice warm garage. When they get in the car, the truck's nice and warm and we're ready to go. So we're doing hard things for the sake of our children, right? Now, could that be the only reason why we do hard things? No, but the biggest thing is we often as individuals avoid doing the things that we consider difficult or challenging. And then we allow ourselves these lies and excuses. These lies and excuses are the fact that, oh, well, the business is slow. Up here in Michigan, things have really slowed down and there's snow on the ground and no one's buying houses. The fact of the matter is somebody's buying a house. Somebody's refinancing a house. They're just not doing it with you because society has allowed you to input this lie in your brain that allows you not to do the task or do the hard things, right? And so if we're looking for a loan between now and the end of the year, could we find one? Well, could you find one in March? Could you find one in June? What's the difference? The month? You're going to let the month, the time dictate. The perception of time is what you're going to allow to dictate your activities and the things that you execute on. I want you to envision your excuses as this. Every time we allow our mind to wander into excuses, we allow our mind to basically steal. If you celebrate Christmas, you allow your mind to remove a gift from underneath the tree, right? And you find yourself on Christmas Day with no gifts underneath the tree because you allowed yourself to make the excuses that everyone else also allows for you. Your biggest enablers, your family, for example. Oh, honey, it's Thanksgiving. I know you're trying to lose weight, but it's okay to cheat today. Have that extra serving. When we commit to doing the things that we have to do in order to get the job done, we no longer allow the excuses to flow by and we do hard things. Now, what does that do for the regimen of the day? What are some of the things, the most basic activities? Who on this call, and let me expand to a grid view so I can see my view. Let me change this. I want to know who on this call, just a raise of hands. Who has talked to a new real estate partner or agent this week that you had not communicated with before? And let's be honest. Okay, good. We have a couple people that are doing the hard things, right? And for those of you that have not, my question would be this: why not? What is so difficult about our jobs, right? We're not getting up in the morning and we're not breaking out the sludge hammer and the work boots and everything else and busting bricks. Heaven forbid if that was your job this morning, right? My tattoo artist yesterday, he's like, my brother gets jealous of me because he perceives me just sitting here all day in the office, and he works construction and he has to dig a hole, right? Well, that's the job he chose. It's not our fault we chose a more efficient way to do our business. And so my question to you is, what's difficult about calling a new agent? And your answer is going to be very simple. I don't know what to say. Well, what would you say if you met a new person? What could you say? Does a person have to be new? Could you not do the strategies? Listen, and I'm blue in the face talking about this. You go to Facebook and find out just about anything you need to know about anybody you want to know something about. So why is this so difficult to interact with somebody on Facebook? Oh, rejection. Those of you that are married, how many times did you get rejected before you found your husband or wife? How many times do your children reject you per day? Go clean your room. Nope. What? The difference is discipline your children. You can't discipline real estate agents, right? But you can, because it's a privilege to work with you. And that's what you have to understand. You have to understand the value that you provide to the community. You are veteran mortgage advisors, meaning you are the best of the best because you chose to spend 30 minutes of your time with us today to sharpen your sword. And here we are selling ourselves short. Oh, Mr. Producer won't want to work with me. How do you know? Have you given Mr. Producer a chance to work with you? Have you demonstrated a purpose? Have you asked who is doing classes? Let me see. Let me flip. It keeps flipping to a different view. Let me go back to a gallery view just one time. And listen, I know that we're all doing things. Raise your hand if you have a class scheduled between now and the end of the year. Okay. Raise your hand if you have internet access. Every hand should go up, right? Even Stephen Dominic's hand goes up. Here's my thing.
From New Jersey, he has the internet.
You have internet. Elon Musk made it possible to have internet access anywhere, right? And so why can't we at minimum do a Zoom class? We could say, well, Alex, I don't have a lot of money right now. I can't do a lunch and learn. Good. A Zoom and learn is just as good, right? And you can project it amongst all the states that you're licensed in. Imagine having a class where people from Kentucky and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida, and they were all in the same place, kind of like this Zoom. Weird, isn't it? But we're not willing to do the work. By the way, the work's really, really easy. AI, it does most of the work for most of us now. So what are some of the things that we're going to do? Can we do a video demonstrating what makes us the veteran mortgage advisor? What separates us from our competition? Should you be the book of knowledge that people turn to, right? The dictionary. If you want to know how to spell a word or the definition, what do? You open up this book that society has said, that's where all the answers are, right there in that book. And then they switched it. They said, actually, it's in Google. Go there instead, right? Or Siri or whatever it may be. Why can't you be that perceived book? Because you're not telling people, right? You're not telling people that you are that perceived book because we're not communicating our message. We're not having the classes. You know why? Well, because from Thanksgiving to New Year's, nobody does anything. Bullshit. Some of the biggest months of my career have been in December. You know why? We get out and we do the work. We do the work while everybody,
January.
Idle. Yeah, January. January is always huge. You know why? My producers are still working. You think they're like, you know what? I've closed 20 million this year. I don't need to close anything else. Go ask the team leaders for the local real estate offices. How's your business going? They're going to say it's booming. We're doing awesome. And guess what? If they say we're pretty slow, find a different office. Find a different location, right? You're right. Closings are built in the months prior. The work is something that we see the product and results probably 45 to 60 days from now. It used to be 30 to 45 days. But I promise, if somebody held a gun to your head and said, if you don't close one new deal by the end of the year, every single one of you would close a new deal by the end of the year. You know why? Because the want would exist. It doesn't now. You know why? No one has a literal gun to your head. But could you place that same thought process? Do you have to be threatened with death to do the things that we committed to do? We all want to be, go ahead.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Just raise your hand real quick if you were on the call we did last week. I know a couple of you here were. So, yep, a lot of you were here. And I was recapping some conversations that I had with VMA folks who said they were struggling. And one thing that I kind of came back to a few times on that call was, what activities you're doing. And I'm going to ask you, Alex, in a minute, but what I kind of got to was, well, if you're struggling with activities, you got to just commit to doing them. You say, look, this is my discipline. This is what I do every single day. These are the things that make me a veteran mortgage advisor. I love doing this. I love VA loans. So, every day I'm going to do, and then I just threw out some activities that I had discussed with some other VMA members. And, just for example, one of the members, we came up with, hey, every day I'm going to talk to at least one new person, I'm going to meet somebody new, and I'm going to somehow add them to one of my CRMs or databases or Facebook friend. I'm going to have a system to where I add them so that they can kind of follow what I'm doing every day. Just one non-real estate agent, one person that's not a realtor. And then every day I'm going to try to find one realtor to talk to that, I may not know as well. Maybe I don't know them at all. I'm going to try really hard to kind of get the new people. And of course, I have a system for talking to people I already know and moving them along the know, like, and trust cycle, but I'm going to try to get one new person. So one new realtor, one new client contact, whatever database every single day. Then every single day, I'm going to try to make one piece of content for VA stuff. I don't know what to do. Well, Fish has been emailing me the ideas. You guys notice I've got at least 4 days a week. I committed to giving you 5 days a week, and some weeks I'm giving you 3, some weeks I'm giving you 4. But my point is that, I committed to trying to give it to you 5 days a week. If you can commit to doing it 5 days a week, maybe you only do it 2, or maybe you only do it 3. But how many of you are doing anything right now at all? Some of you say, I'm doing 0. I did 1 a month. Okay, if you want to get a bunch of content out there, commit to doing a little bit every day and see how quick you can do it. The better, or the more you do it, the better you get at it. The quicker you get at it, the easier it is. And so committing to do it is a big deal. And then the other thing I threw out there was, one class a month. If you want to be a rock star, some of our people are doing 1 a week. Some of our can do 2 a month, but you should have at least 1 a month. And like Alex said, it can be Zoom. So those are the activities that I had worked through a couple VMA LOs with just in the last week. I did that in the last call. So Alex, for you, what activities, what disciplines, what kind of things are super critical to you that you have to do, every week, every day, every month? Like how do you reset yourself to do those things over and over again?
So I'm glad you asked that question. The content creation portion that you just brought up, there's no reason why we can't commit to doing X amount, right? Because we're not too busy all the time to do all the things. I'll give you an example. My podcast, the person that uploads my podcast and does the notes for me said, hey, sometimes you run a little lean on time when you do these podcasts, and it limits me on being able to get them out quick enough. What if you did 2 a week? And so I'm building a bank of additional podcasts that I do when I'm in the mood to do them, because when you get in that mode, when you get on fire, you start to do what? You execute, right? And so would it be possible to do a couple different videos of content in a day and then you spread them out over time? That's possible. Content's one of the biggest things. And I keep my content relative to what it is that's going on in my mind or the questions that I'm hearing at the time. The other thing is literally just pay attention to your existing people. I know we're always on the hunt for new people, right? But we know this real estate thing is top of mind. How many times have you had an agent that's working with a new loan officer because that's a person that popped in their head when they were ready to write that contract? It's happened to all of us, right? It almost feels like your wife cheating on you. You're like, what? I thought I was your best loan officer. Yeah, but you weren't on top of mind because I hadn't talked to you in a month. And this person called me yesterday and I wrote a contract and there they were, right? So why aren't we reaching out and massaging our existing database on a day-to-day basis? Are you touching your people every 30 days? If not, figure out a system too. That is one of the biggest things. Steve Brand will tell you. I have a system where I touch my people every 30 days like clockwork. It literally raises its hand and says, I need to be tickled. Come tickle me. And I do, right? And so you have to have a regimented system to do that. Listen, your people aren't looking at the calendar saying, oh, that's weird. It was October 21st the last time I talked to them. Are you setting projections and goals with your business partners? Are you giving them value? That's something I do. That's something we're setting appointments right now for the beginning of the year and saying this, listen, please steal this script. Hey, I know 2024 is almost up and I'm sure there's some goals that you wanted to accomplish that you haven't yet. What could I do to contribute to your goals that would help you execute those things this year? And when, not if, not can we, when can we do lunch at the beginning of next year to go ahead and set the map for the new goals, right? So we can ask these questions. Is that perceived value? What do you mean you're going to help me achieve my existing goals? What loan officer is saying that? You know what your competition saying? I got low rates, low fees. Use me. No, I want to
got
help
a
you.
marketing spend.
Yeah. I want to help you execute. And so have those conversations. Literally today, I use an app called Reach. Okay. This is a freebie for everyone. Reach is $5.99. All right. You can build out these lists of individuals, these groups of people, right? And you can blast out mass text messages that come from your iPhone. Okay. And so when I send a Reach blast text to Nathan and Roy and Dave and Antoinette and all them, they get that blue bubble, right? The blue bubble is almost like the blue signature to us iPhone guys. We know it came directly from their cell phone. And so that's a trick because we can build these lists. And yes, holidays, military holidays, Thanksgiving. By the way, when you send out your Thanksgiving text this month, send it the day before Thanksgiving. And here's what you're going to say. You're going to say, hey, I know tomorrow's going to be a hectic day, but I wanted to tell you how thankful I am to have you as a partner. And I look forward to what the new year will bring for the both of us. Let's get together soon. Happy Thanksgiving. Why would you do it the day before? Because you know what's going to happen the day of? The casserole's burning and your annoying fucking text just came through. I'm arguing with my mother-in-law on how I hate my sister-in-law, and you fucking text me? Come on. Holidays, New Year's, do it all before, because then you're top of mind, right? These little bits of activities are the things I do daily. It's almost, I'll be transparent, because being honest, lying is not an option. I'm just going to be transparent. There's a lot of days I don't feel like I do shit and the business arrives. And it's because there's a lot of days I do a lot of little things that don't feel like shit. I don't sit in my office. If I'm in here in my office, if I'm not doing an activity that's making me money, we're going out of business. Flip the sign up front to say closed. If I'm sitting my ass in this office, I have to go out and meet people. I have to go out and shake hands. I have to ask real estate partners on a regular basis, hey, can you do lunch? By the way, for those of you that like to do lunch, do it the same place all the time. I have some areas, Roy will be familiar with this, Spring Hill, Franklin, and then Davidson County, right? Those are my 3 target areas. And so in Franklin, I go to J. Alexander's. That is my spot. I go to J. Alexander's so much that the front desk people know me and I no longer have to have a reservation. They just walk me to a table, okay? Any day, I can walk in there and that happens. Now, if you were meeting me there, how impressive would it be if there's a lobby full of people and they're like, right this way, Alex, and me and my guests walk directly to the table? Would that be affirmation? In Spring Hill, it's Jonathan's. And Davidson County, I don't have a place. Why? Because I don't do a lot in Davidson County. I let someone else choose that place because it's such a big area. My point is this. These little activities compound to big things, right? So when Diane, the front desk lady at J. Alexander's, was looking to purchase a home closer to her daughter because her daughter just had a baby and her daughter lives by Opry Mills Mall, guess who she talked to when I walked in there for lunch one day? Because she knows what it is I do. It's little compounding activities. We forget about, we make everything complex. And by the way, listen, I am a coach. We all are coaches. You know, the VMA has coaches, right? But what people like to do is make things extremely complex. Well, you got to download this and you got to, you know, wake up at 4:30 in the morning and do 15 jumping jacks and do all these things. Be a fucking human being that's there to build relationships with people. And try to build new relationships and firm up the ones you have regularly. If you ask me what I do that contributes to my business so much, that's exactly what I do. I focus on building relationships each and every day, and I do it well. And people like me for me, and they hate me for me. And guess what? We take the little divider and we say, you guys can fuck off, and you guys can come here. Why? Because there's 8.3 billion people in the world. And if 0.0000001% liked us, we would be the richest fucking loan officers in the world. And we never fathom that. Our brain won't process that because we've been targeted the same 3 people. Oh, eventually, you know, Don will send me a deal. No, Don won't. His fucking brother-in-law writes his deals for him, right? Get rid of those people. That's the other thing I want you guys to do. Listen, we talk about task, right? And Mike, I know I'm kind of getting off course here, but you asked me what I do. These are things I do. Those people that are weighting you down, those people that are utilizing your time, they're bankrupting your time. Listen, I did a podcast last week or the week before, and it was called Bankrupting Time or something like that. You can go to my website and you can find it. They bankrupt your time. They make you feel as if they're value. How? They spend countless hours on the phone asking you questions, getting advice. And then you know what they do? Hey, Alex said that you could do it this way, Steven. Why don't you try it that way? Okay, I'll try it that way. And then they call you when Steven has the next problem on the next deal. And they're just regurgitating this information. I'll get you in 1 second. Do you need some fish? Oh, he's waving at someone.
You're
But
muted.
they ask for this information all the time, and we think what? We're like, oh my God, these people, we're busy. Go count the deals they've sent you. They're bankrupting your time 1 hour at a time. And we allow it because we have this belief, right? It's like the belief, have you ever heard someone say, oh yeah, that 580 credit score guy, I know it's challenging, but he could have a rich uncle that's going to buy $1 million house one day. Guess what the rich uncle's not talking to? The broke motherfucker with the 580 credit score, right? You think the rich uncle that's buying $1 million house is taking advice from the 580 credit score? No. So why do we hold on to that? I'm not saying those people don't need help and they don't have a place, but don't fucking fool yourself that this magical thing is going to happen here. You want $1 million clients, go to $1 million places. You want down payment assistant clients, go to those places, right? We all know where they live. And I'm not saying physically live. I know that the people that are entrepreneurs that are doing business at a high level, I know where to go find those people. And it's not sitting here at my office. The last person that knocked on my door was FedEx, and he gave me crabs for my saltwater fish tank. But everyone's like, "Oh shit!"
I want to throw a couple things out there from what you said because I see this happening in VMA a lot, and I think it's kind of an industry challenge. So we do slides in VMA where we talk about the veteran median income being pretty solid and the veteran credit score being pretty solid, and then I'll run across loan officers, in my company or in VMA or whatever, and it seems like every vet they're working with is a get me done. And I'm like, well, that's actually not the main demographic of the veterans, right? So that person is out there marketing to people, I think, the wrong way. They're basically saying, like, send me your toughest VA deals, your turn down, send me anything nobody else can figure out or nobody else wants. And I love that. And it's okay to do those deals. It's okay to embrace those and figure out how to get them done. And like, we love that. We love helping vets that can't figure out how to get loans done. But we also love people with good credit. We love people with good jobs. And that's actually a larger percentage of the VA population, much larger. We need to think about how do we get in front of those people before the other lenders do, before Navy Fed does, before Veterans United does. Why are we not getting in front of them? And why are we getting the term me downs? It's probably the approach that we're taking with the real estate agents or the veterans themselves. Like in the veterans themselves, do we have content out there that is consumer facing? I know some of the VMA people are killing it. The ones that are killing it are not on this call. They're too busy to jump on this call. Their consumer facing content is doing so well. I can drop their names. You probably already know who they are. We also have people that are killing it with real estate agent referrals because they are coaching and helping them learn how to take those veterans away from places like Navy Fed and Veterans United, get them to better lenders like us, and then they end up with a better quality of deals. So, think about that. If all the veteran applications that you get are term me downs by someone else, it's okay to be the fix-it lender, but there's a huge population of VA loans that's out there that are not just term me downs.
What would happen if you taught your agent partners to fish in a different pond? Do you think your agent partners that are picking up these hard deals like to send you 10 leads with one that closes? What if your strategy was this? What if your strategy was, hey, Brian, listen, I know it's been a rough year in the market, right? It's been rough for all of us. Let's sit down and strategize what we can do to help people that are maybe they're not using down payment assistance, maybe they're using their VA home loan, and maybe their price point's $500,000. Would you be a little bit happier if we could close a couple more $500,000 deals versus a few $250,000 deals, right? Why wouldn't you offer that? You have the tools. You can allow your voice to speak through them, right? What about asking your agent partners or the people that you don't do a lot of business with? If you picked up the phone and said, hey, Darren, listen, man, I love what you do, and I see everything you're doing in the community. You're a huge asset, and I love following you. I love watching you. What could I do to earn more of your business and help you get more business on your plate? What could I do to help you get more business on your plate? What could I do to earn more of your business? Darren's probably got a loan officer that gets a deal and never says thank you. Who in here, every time you get a lead, says thank you so much? I'm so grateful for you sending this to me. I will keep you in the loop. And then actually keeps them in the loop. We say it, we're like, oh, I'll keep you in the loop. Next Tuesday they call, they're like, hey, what happened to that Michael Fisher deal? And you're like, who? Michael. Oh shit. The truth is I never called him, but it's he never answered the phone. Yeah, he don't answer, right? We need to do these things. The most basic elements. And by the way, we go places and we brag. We're like, I have excellent communication. We close deals on time. We have good rates. No shit. You're a fucking lender. You should. You should have great communication. You should close deals on time, right? You're not a construction worker. You're a lender. You close on time, right? Why aren't we doing those? These are I know they sound so basic. They sound so simple. Our business is not hard. Getting it's not difficult, but we just don't do the hard things. So do the hard things. That's all I got, Fish.
You're muted.
I got more, but we ain't got time for all that.
Well, in theory, Scott Groves is supposed to hop on, but I don't know. Maybe he shows up. Maybe he's like, I don't know. Oh, sorry, Fish. I'll catch you next week. I mean, either way, if I cut you guys short in a half an hour for some reason,
Oh,
we
we
will
ain't
get
doing
back
all
to the
that.
bit. What's that?
We ain't doing all that. Let me ask this, Fish.
Do it.
Until he jumps in.
Yeah.
Struggling right now. Listen, somebody be vulnerable. I know somebody on this call is struggling right now. I'm going to help you right this minute. Who is struggling?
From our conference, the overall underlying tone of everybody was, I'm burnt the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
So I know everybody, me included, I know I am personally burnt out. I don't want to talk to people,
Yep.
right? I struggle with why the fuck? I hate doing that stuff, right? I struggle with it because I'm burnt out from all the shit that we just went through. All of us went through it collectively. We all went through it, right? It's just a mindset shift, and you have to start doing small things. Small little things, you start stacking them, right? I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago on a call. It's been forever since I've had back-to-back good days, right? It just seems like shit on top of shit on top of shit on top of shit, all right? But I've been trying to find the good in every day, a Chad Fleming thing, right? Every day might not be a good day, but there's some good in every day. So you got to find the good and start stacking them, right? Next thing you know, I had 7 good days in a row, and all of a sudden now I'm sort of kind of back, right? I have this new rejuvenation to me, all right? I'm not saying I'm all the way there, but this is what we all have to do. We all have to start stacking the small wins in our life on top of one on top of another, right? So if you win one day, you shoot to win the next day, right? Then you got back-to-back good days.
Brad, I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
You have a fucking winning streak, right? So there we go.
I got a question for you. We all know what a rhetoric question is, so hopefully I do this right. Brad, do you find that you get a lot of business and then you go out and make content or teach classes? Or do you find that you make a lot of content and teach classes and then you get a lot of business? That wasn't a hard one, buddy. That was an easy one.
No, it's the content.
Hey,
it's
leave
the
the Marine
content. It's
alone,
getting
okay?
in front of
Right?
people. I was trying
So
to
I'm
figure
saying
out if
people
you're
that
trying
don't
to ask
have
me a
business,
trick
you have
question here.
time.
Right?
When's the last time each person, I want you to consider this. Nobody has to answer this question. When's the last time you guys have taken inventory of what you're grateful for? Right?
Yeah.
Brad was talking about bad days. Okay. We all have them. Like, to say we don't, you're not human if you don't have them. But shit, a fucking dog has a bad day. Right? And so to assume we don't would be wrong. But when's the last time you've taken inventory of the things that you're grateful for, so you know the things to have gratitude towards? Right? When's the last time you did that? Because that may be the one thing that continues to motivate you. Listen, all the stuff that we went to, Brad talked about, to the point of not liking talking to certain people. I've been through that. You know what I realized? Was talking to the wrong people. I hated talking to specific people that didn't get me, or I couldn't be myself, or I had to be fake. And so I tried to rid myself as much as possible of those people. If you're not enjoying talking to those people, find different people to talk to, right? Because it's not the fact that you don't enjoy communication. It's just you don't enjoy communication the way it's being reciprocated. So find different people to talk to.
You're hitting on it too, right? It's all about you and what you tolerate and what you accept.
Yes.
Okay. But when you're in it, it's so hard to see, but it's so basic when you're removed from it, right? It's just the small little things. Don't look at the garage at a whole and say, holy fuck, where do I even start? Right?
Well,
Start by grabbing the very first thing in front of you and move it.
Move it.
Then
Yep.
you have another thing. Next, so I was telling you that I turned around and walked away last night. What I didn't tell you is by the end of the night, I had my garage clean, right? And it was because I just grabbed that first thing. You grab the first thing and you start stacking it, right? Once you start moving, you continue to move.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that physics or no, it's not chemistry, it's physics, right?
Yeah. Something like that.
Marines.
It's a good thing we're good loan officers, right? No, like I said, the biggest thing is finding that gratitude, remembering the reason why we even do this in the first place. We have high stress jobs, but we're helping people, right? And if we're glowing with negativity, people are that's what they're gonna see. That's where they're gonna grow. That's what they're gonna bring to you. They're gonna reciprocate what it is they receive. And so if we walk into things with negative attitudes, we're gonna leave with negative attitudes. We've poisoned the pond, so to speak. And we get attracted to that. That's the worst thing. Imagine being attracted to negativity. We seek it out. There's a part of your brain. You guys have heard me talk about this, the RAS, reticular activating system. It's literally finding the things. I'm big into watches, okay? And now I can spot people's watch. And I know what type of watch they have, sometimes from across the room. Why? Because I've become into and obsessed with watches to whatever degree. And now it's a part of my brain where I'm very conscious of people wearing watches. Guess what I wasn't conscious of before that? You could have an Apple Watch, you could have a Rolex, you could have a Pantic, anything, and I wouldn't even recognize it because my brain wasn't searching for these clues. So if we're searching for negativity because that's what we're spewing, that's what we're going to find. So what happens if we make a shift? And I want to give you another tip. We are all guilty of this, okay? You wake up, alarm goes off, right? Or some of us, most of us probably wake up before that happens. What do? You wipe a little bit of crust out of your eyes and you grab your phone and you start scrolling through Facebook, or you look at the market, or you get on Instagram, whatever it is, you start to influence your day immediately. And it's not always positive. You listen to the news, you found out that something happened in this market last night, it's going to impact your market today. Guess what? You can't control any of that shit. It happened. So what if you got up in the morning and influenced your mind positively? What if you had a podcast that was positive that you could listen to, or a video that was on YouTube that screamed positivity? Or what if you told your little mechanical robot that sits in the corner of your house to play some positive affirmations? What if we put premium fuel in our tank instead of the cheap stuff, right? We wake up in the morning and put half water, half gas in our tank, and then we wonder why our car doesn't run well. But if you drive a Ferrari, you put 93 octane or above in that machine. Why? Because that's when it runs at its optimal level. By the way, if you drink all night and expect to wake up the next morning, feel like $1 million, guess what's not going to happen? So maybe we don't drink all night, right? All these things, if you want to have premium results, you got to make shifts. Okay. And if it's something as simple, God, remember a time where we weren't chained to these things? I was laying there getting tattooed last night, and as I'm laying there, I noticed I'm laying fucking face down, getting grinded on, and I got my phone in my hand. I had to consciously move it away from me because we're so attached to these devices, right? But they control your influence and your mental. You become reactive. You wake up in the morning, you're like, man, F that guy. I can't believe he left that comment on my page. Who is he? But he controls you right now. That's who the fuck he is. He's got full control. Go ahead and throw the reins on. He's going to snag you around like a damn barn horse, right? That's who that person is because we give them the power. What if we didn't? What if we got on track and we started listening to positive things? By the way, this is something I do every morning. You start listening to positive stuff, right? And you got that premium fuel in your tank. And then that guy comes trotting along. You're like, who is this dude? I'm getting after it today, right? You can change these things. The holidays, sometimes things get clouded because we have so much going on. But I want you to ask yourself, is this going to change my life forever? Is this going to influence me negatively? Or is this temporary? That tattoo I got last night, the pain was temporary. Everything in life is temporary, right? Whatever it is that you're going through is a chunk out of this massive piece of your life. And we hope that your life is as long as it can be. And if it is, you'll notice this chunk when you look back in perspective, just like this market condition and change was only temporary, and it was a small chink out of a large piece of armor, right? And so if we know that now, then why can't we just let the big things be small? Why can't we be resilient? Like your liver, right? For those of you that drink. So, anyways, those are just, listen, those are, Mike asked me the things, and my things aren't going to be normal, right? I'm not going to get on and be like, oh, I do X amount of calls per day and I send out these emails, because I don't. I would never coach you to, because that's not I focus on this. If this has half water and half gas in it, it's not going to run well. If this has, I swear to God, there's some days I feel like my thoughts are so powerful I can see through the wall. Like, you feed it with premium octane. And guess what? By nature, you do the hard things. That's what we need to focus on. I saw Scott jumped in, so I'm going to close my mouth right now because he's probably got better advice than I do.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Hey, sorry about the timing. I know you guys are at the tail end of your meeting. I'll make it super quick. Fisher and I have scheduling dilemmas between the two of us. Sorry about that. But yeah, I just want to give you one idea. And if you guys want to put this on your calendar for Friday, December 13th, through 10 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time. Friday, December 13th, noon to 10 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time. So adjust for your time zone. We're going to do a perfect calendar activity. Sorry to any of the managers in the office that have done this before, but we're going into the end of the year, and every manager at every mortgage company is going to be like, we need to do business planning. Okay, how much money do you want to make in 2025? How many bips do you make? What's your average loan size? Let's reverse engineer that into how many deals you have to close. Okay, cool. There's your business plan for what the fuck? Like,
super fucking overwhelming. Just what we just talked about. It's like completely overwhelming. Where the hell do I even start?
And super stupid. Like,
yes.
Just absolutely retarded. Excuse my language. I cuss a little bit. I'm not exactly the PG-13 coach.
Hey,
so
you're a veteran. It's okay. You're in good company.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. And so what I would say is business planning should really be calendar planning. And probably the best thing I ever heard in coaching back when Gary Keller from KW was doing real coaching still, he always said, like, your calendar is a reflection of your values. Like, your and he would call people on stage with their little day timer. I don't know how many of you are still old enough to remember what the day timer is, the little planner. And he would say, okay, cool. You wrote down in your fears and goals for 2013 that you want to have a better relationship with your spouse. Like, you guys are headed for divorce. Show me where date night's on your calendar. Like, show me how you're leaving 3 days a week at 4:30 to take the kids to jujitsu so your wife doesn't feel overwhelmed. Oh, none of that's on your calendar? Guess what? You're headed for divorce. Like, it's not going to work, right? And so the perfect calendar system is really going through looking at what are the personal things that I want to have on my calendar annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily, right? Working out, committing to the kids, whatever the case may be. And then going through, okay, now professionally, what are the things I want to do annually? What are the quarterly things I want to do, lunch and learns? What are the weekly things I want to do, getting out to open houses? What are the daily things I want to do, having, an hour or two of green time where I'm actually doing lead generation? And then you just reverse engineer into building your calendar, and all the busy work and the bullshit has to squeeze in between those things. So yeah, I'll actually, if you want to just save it in your email now, I'm sure there'll be some registration page or something. There's not a registration page up yet. We'll have that probably tomorrow or Monday, but that's,
if you want to shoot that over to us, we will absolutely disperse that to our database for you.
Cool.
I just want to add one thing on top of the calendar. Why I really am adherent to a calendar is because I have ADHD, like you wouldn't believe, right? I get stuck going down rabbit holes of stupid shit that I shouldn't be doing, right?
No,
There's something about that little ding that says, hey, you have from 10 to 12, you have call client time. boom, I'm out of that hole and I'm on to the next task. You have to be disciplined to follow it, right? But if you build it all out, it's going to help you stay on task. And that's what a calendar does. It helps you stay on task so that you don't bring this shit home, so you don't go down the road of divorce, right?
A calendar, if you could make me a co-host, Fish,
Yep.
so I could share my thing. Yeah, a calendar is just a reflection of your values, right? And so I hosted my annual coaching retreat this last week. So it was like all orange time. Like I've got to get some blue time. You know, my wife and I tonight are going to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch the Steelers game with a couple other couples. And it's like I've got to get blue time, which is with the family, on the calendar. Actually, blue time is working out. So I got to get some purple time on the calendar. Orange time is for coaching. Green time is for mortgage stuff. And, you know, looking at next week, I can look at this pretty quickly and be like, oh, I've got plenty of workout time on my calendar. I got plenty of coaching time. I need some more green time, which is why I put all of next Wednesday. I'm just marketing to Vegas realtors going into the holiday, sending them thank you for your referral type videos, things like that. So your
Can I
calendar.
ask a question? Can you share your
Sure.
screen again?
Sure.
This might seem like a stupid question, but just play along. When you're looking at this and it's color coded, do you already know like, hey, I need to have like 40% of this be orange, 20% of this to be green, you know, to make sure that you're balancing it out?
Yeah.
You
So
tracking what I'm saying?
if you look
Like
over
it-
here, Google Calendar does this for you now. It shows a percentage of your time insights. So I can go to this and be like, all right, cool. I got 10 hours next week for coaching, 9
Okay, yeah.
hours for mortgage appointments.
Perfect.
And I can kind of look at like what's going on. You can see
Yeah,
right
this is
now,
what I was alluding to. Correct. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, next
this.
week, I've got nothing on the calendar for Karina time, my wife, right? So it's like, I know I need to put movie night with Karina.
When are you doing this this class again, Scott?
I'm doing it Friday, December 13th from 10 to noon PST.
Friday the 13th. All right.
Yeah, it's a good time to plan. So yeah, you can just do like, you can do a quick oversight. And now, you know, now my wife feels valued because we're going to do a movie night on Friday and I got to find a babysitter. So, you know, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. The only thing that's not here is I do jujitsu every morning at 6 a.m. except for Wednesdays when I have private coaching clients. So this is, that's the only thing that's not reflected on here because I know jujitsu is just part of my life. So I get up every morning at 4:45 to do that. So that's not accounted for in there. So the workout time's probably a little skewed because I got about 7 hours of jujitsu in there. But yeah, calendar just being a reflection of your values. If you do anything going into 2025, please have a calendar plan, way more important than a business plan, because it's those daily and weekly activities that are going to actually pay the dividends on putting deals in your pipeline.
To piggyback off of what you started with, I mean, how many leads and contacts do I need to make in order to make sure I have a happy marriage? Right? Like there is no algorithm for that. There is no, right? So you got to make sure that you account for these things so you don't go down that road of despair.
Let me point something out too. This is vitally important. Okay, so there's zero question. Scott Groves is a very successful loan officer, right? And so, but if you look at his calendar, listen, there's men and women out there that brag. I work 60 hours this week. I'm just leaving the office. It's 10 p.m. I'll do pre-approvals at 7 a.m. on Saturday. Did you guys see his green on his schedule? It's probably because when the time comes to work, it's very intentional. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be present. I'm going to focus on my business. And when I'm not there, focused on my business, I'm going to focus on Karina. I'm going to focus on my coaching. I'm going to focus on my jujitsu. I'm going to focus on the things that I do not compromise for. And it's because we confuse the fact of being busy with also the fact of being productive, right? But if you take green time and you become productive intentionally, you produce results. I just wanted to point that out because again, there's no question you're very successful, but the calendar would reflect something different than the normal thought process of what we would consider a successful mortgage banker, because you got to work 60 hours a week to make $1 million a year. I can tell you don't.
Bullshit.
Guaranteed.
You don't.
I know factually you don't, right?
It's the golden question. I had this question pose because I was a newer loan officer. I didn't know. Okay, if I'm making calendar blocks, and let's say I'm calling agents from 10 to 12, that agent doesn't answer from 10 to 12, but they call back at 2 o'clock when I'm supposed to be doing something else. Am I supposed to stop what I'm doing and answer that call? Or am I supposed to have a dedicated callback time, right? Well, the simple answer is this: if everything's a priority, nothing is. Right? So in my scenario, it was decline the call, have on my voicemail, I will call you back at this time, or you can text me, right? And I made sure to follow it up. So you kind of got to keep that in mind too. If everything's a priority, nothing is. So if you're detailed out on your calendar, you should be good, right? Plus, there's another big aspect of this: the anxiety of this job. Okay. If you're supposed to be doing something with your wife or husband or spouse or family, and all of a sudden something pops into your head for work, you're not enjoying the time with your family. You're there, but you're not present. Your mind is on something else, and that's not fair to your family. Right? I went through this last year. I finally understood this. Like if you have dedicated time blocking to respond to agents or respond to clients, it frees up your evening. You don't have to work 20 hours a day. Be disciplined with your time blocking. That's what everybody's saying here.
Raise your hand if you're going to be on Scott Grove's call. Listen, it's a free call to get on. That's like somebody giving you free advice. It's amazing by a known producer. Listen, if you got something on your schedule that interferes short of being family sickness or death, be on that call. It is, let me tell you the pathway, right? Because we're all here for that same thing. We're all here for the journey. And so just throw it on your calendar. There you go. Put it on your calendar and commit to being there and make it a non-negotiable, because I promise you, one of the things that Scott's probably going to teach you, you like how I said promise and then probably, he's probably going to teach you that once it's on the calendar, it's non-negotiable, right? Put it on your calendar. Let's do it right now. It's December 13th from 10 to 12 Pacific Standard Time. Okay. And listen, I gain zero off helping Scott promote this, besides the fact that I know I created a bridge or a commitment between your success and his teaching, right? That's what I gain. My goal is to help 1 million people. You guys can be part of that 1 million people I help in a very simplistic way.
I'll say that I used to have color-coded calendar on my Outlook and loved it. And I don't know why, if I upgraded Outlook or changed companies, imagine that, someone changing companies. And I lost it and just never figured out how to put it back on, and didn't have that as an importance high enough to take the time to put that on. And that's been years. So I'll see you Friday, December 13th, Scott.
That's good point, Steve. I know we had a couple questions. I think Thelma, was that your hand that I saw raised?
Hi.
Hi.
No, that was a YouTube video. Here you go. YouTube.
Oh,
How to
I
color
did totally, oops, sorry. I did totally raise my hand, but I was raising my hand because you said to raise your hand if you're going to be on the call, and I'm driving, so I hit the wrong button. So I'm just going to mute myself back here again and listen to you all talk.
it's all good. Was there somebody else who had a question? I thought I saw another hand.
Central Time is 2 hours ahead of Pacific Time. I know somebody asked that question.
Noon Central.
Yep.
There you go.
I put it on.
Yeah, you
11
know that
Eastern.
that
11
being
Eastern.
present thing, Brad, is like being present. If you want a big kick in the dick, I was at sushi with my kid, and yeah, that's the bad thing about taking your kids to business appointments at a very young age. I can't get away with Chuck E. Cheese. My 6 and 8 year old want all you can eat sushi anytime we go out. So we're at sushi, and I require my kids to be present for like an hour. If we're out at a meal, and then after an hour, I'm like, they're kids. I'll give them the phone, let them watch, kids YouTube or something like that. I told Gabriel, I was like, hey, can I have my phone back? I need to look something up. And he put his hand up to my face. He's like, Dad, I'm on a meeting call. And in the moment, it was funny, but I was like,
Hell no.
how many times have I done that to my son that I'm reinforcing that like the phone and the meeting call is more important than him? So, you know, our new agreement is like when we go out and we do kid stuff, I just leave the phone in the car or leave the phone at the office. I'm old enough to remember having to drive someplace without Google Maps. So yeah, planning the calendar so that you can have quality time either in your work or in your personal life. It's really important.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Ah,
this is an amazing session. Listen, I meant what I said earlier too. Like those of you that are struggling, let's look up here first, right? Let's look up here and let's look at the things that we're grateful for. Let's look at our gratitude, right? Because I promise whatever it is that you're struggling with, there's something that you're grateful for that will help you remove that struggle. And I promise you that if you affirm to those people that you're grateful for, it's going to change the mood. It's going to change the stress. Maybe you're going through a hard time at home. Maybe it's financially connected. Maybe it's not, whatever it may be. If you can unload what's up here, you can do a lot more of what you're great at. That's why you're here. Okay. You're not here because
exactly.
you're a scrub ass loan officer that just found a cool website and decided to spend your hard-earned money to join. You're here because you're committed to doing the same thing as all of us, which is helping serve the veteran and serve active duty service members at the highest level, not at a higher level. That's not negotiable. It's the highest level. And we're going to educate. We're going to do the things possible in order to provide a better home buying experience for our men and women who have earned it, deserve it, fought for it, sacrificed for it, right? So I want each of you, if you're struggling, take that inventory, figure out why, and I want you to start consuming that premium octane fuel that we talked about every morning. And in 7 days from now, if your workflow and step hasn't changed, please call me and cuss me out, because then I'm just lying to people, right? I promise if you do these activities, you will have a better outcome in just 7 short days, and you will see it. But we have to do it.
You hit on something very, very, very important. It all comes from up here, right? As I said, I have been going through some shit over the last year and a half, and I've been trying to find what it is that I needed. I needed something. I needed what it was. I thought it was all external. And just within like the last 30 days, I realized it was mental, right? It was 100% mental. So I'm telling you, from somebody on the other side of this, quit looking for shit. It's all right here. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to do anything but sit in your thoughts for an hour. That's it. And then you can start flipping this around. Start thinking about it. Don't avoid yourself. Period. Don't avoid it.
Do the hard things. That's all I got. I got to run to the bank. So,
all right, guys. That's all we got. Thank you, Scott. Hop on his webinar. We'll blast this out later. You all have a great week. And remember, next week is Thanksgiving. We're not going to have an elite call. Happy Turkey Day, y'all. Love you.
Hey, guys.